What's up guys? Coach Dave, Coach Joe, Axiom Fitness Academy. In this video, we're gonna teach you how to coach the toughest movement pattern of them all, the hinge, from the standing position. How frustrating it is when you're doing all the right cues, all right, karate chop your hips, and everybody rounds their back, right? Or, okay, maybe now they keep their back flat, but now they just bend their knees. There are few things harder to teach than the hinge because, let's be honest, most people don't move so great, and that's why they need you. So I'm gonna cut right to the chase. Joe, I don't know about you, but man, being a trainer for 17 years, I've gone through a million courses, and there's lots of cues to do this, but it's like, doesn't really matter. In the moment, you're trying 12 things, and then it just gets someone way more confused.
Yeah, well, we're just gonna say from the beginning, don't do the dowel cue, we're gonna do some other stuff.
Absolutely. This is my favorite way, okay? And we're gonna use some tactile pieces that make sure that someone gets it, because as soon as they feel it, it's like this light bulb goes off and they're like, okay, now we're just gonna recreate that, right? But we gotta get them to feel it first. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have Joe load up against this box here. And you can use a bench, that's usually what I use, a box, whatever you got, but we're using it for tactile feedback. I want the back of his calves here to be touching. Okay, great. So now, the next thing I'm gonna tell Joe to do is I want you to go down and we're gonna hinge at these hips, right? You could sort of karate chop these hips, and I want you to maintain contact with those calves against the bench. And so now what I'm doing is I'm teaching the bottom half of this, right? There's really two pieces of this. What do I have the upper body doing? What do I have the lower body doing? And that's why this is so hard to coach, because you're trying to do both at the same time. I teach them separately and then I put them together. So right now, I don't really care too much about what his upper body's doing. I just want him to maximize what's going on in the lower body, which is soft bend in that knee, but not moving, not changing the angle of the knee, because we don't want the knees doing the work, we want the hips doing the work. So Joe is doing a great job. He's maintaining contact with his calf against the back of this box, and he's moving those hips. And I'm gonna say, Joe, as you go down, I want you to try and get your butt, like you're trying to run that butt into the wall back there, but maintain that good contact. And he's doing fantastic. So now I've got his hamstrings feeling it. Joe, you feeling that in your hamstrings?
Yeah.
Good. Are you feeling any in your lower back?
No.
Good. Because when we're doing our hinging, you should feel very little in your lower back. It should not be getting tired. It should feel pretty solid. Now, if Joe is doing this and he's doing a great job with his lower body, but he's rounded and he looks like poo-poo on his upper body here, how am I gonna fix that? Well, I'll tell you exactly how I fix that sad dog of a position. So, Joe, here's what I want you to do. I want you to grab this kettlebell and I want you to hold it up here in the goblet position while you're doing that. So I'm gonna give Joe this kettlebell. And magically, right? No, Joe, I want you to hold it up just a little higher. There we go. Now, what this kettlebell is gonna do is this is gonna force him to have good upper body posture, because naturally to hold this here and not let it fall and maintain this position, Joe is gonna be perfect. And see, now you even see just a slight arch here, which is good. It's fine. We have a natural curvature in our back. So Joe's feeling his abs turn on. He's feeling his hamstrings working. And when he comes up, I'm just gonna give him the cue. Joe, as you're standing up, think about driving those heels through the floor, squeezing those glutes. And I don't want you thinking about overextending. Instead, all I want you to think about at the top is getting tall. Drive those heels into the floor, get tall at the top.
Yeah, and I like the cue of being able to have something tactile against the calves, because sometimes you're using all the right cues and nothing lands for them, but now they've got kind of a rule they've got to operate with of keeping those calves in line. The only other thing is, I think as we think about like our setup, foot stance, you know, from the front side, a lot of different positions, right? It's gonna definitely be narrower than our squat. For most people, pretty much just lining up right below the hips is a pretty good place to go. And there could be some variation in the feet, but for the most part, that's usually not what people are struggling with. Most people are struggling with this hinging component. Yeah. And I think even though sometimes you'll see things like good mornings taught later on, it's nice to give them that, you know, stiffness in the upper body, because now all of a sudden, if we've built that, now the moment we decide, hey, cool, you're doing really well. First off, maybe we'll step away. Can we maintain that now without the box? Cool, there's the next step. And then all of a sudden, hey, drop that down.
Right.
And it's going to be a slightly different loading position, but if we've used that to really solidify the pattern, now the transition into things like kettlebell RDLs or just RDLs in general is going to be so much easier.
Absolutely. And worst case scenario, if Joe moves down into that RDL position and he starts to lose his form, maybe he starts bending his knees too much, it gets a little squatty. I say, okay, hold on, Joe, just back up into that box again. Let's recreate that position because he can still hold the kettlebell and do the RDL while still maintaining that tactile feedback. And every time, all I'm doing is just getting the reps in. Feel that feeling back in those hamstrings. Make sure that core is tight. And that's it. We got him hinging.